Per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. Let's take a look at some alts today, which have had a great run over the past, let's say, week and a half. I think broadly, we're going to need to see some cooling off here, even on BTC. We'll talk about it. I don't think we're going to see some, we already had a 2x on some of these alts. Are we going to see another 2x in the next week? Probably not. We're probably going to see mild pullbacks, some weak continuation, and then we'll go from there. On dominance, it has pulled back from 65 to 62.5. High time frames look fine to me. Now, as I've said before, you can't trade alts on dominance alone, but it does give you a general sense of where home should be. Should home be meme coins right now, or should home be BTC and maybe majors? Whereas we go out and we play around in the meme coin sandbox cesspool for a little bit, and we take profits, and we come back to Bitcoin land. That's to me what this is saying here. We're not trending bearish on dominance yet. By the time we trend bearish on dominance, alts are going to be way, way outperforming. And that's probably end of cycle stuff. So reality is similar to the Fed cutting rates. The quicker the Fed cuts rates, the quicker that's the Fed admitting that there's actual weakness in the economy, regardless of what you think about the economy. That's the Fed's opinion. The quicker we get a rollover on dominance, the quicker we are to the end of the cycle. That's the it's over type of thing after you get dominance rolling over, because that represents the most retail speculative mania entering into the market, right? So we're not quite there yet. And you're really better off just looking for individual trades relative to BTC than thinking you're going to outperform BTC over a long period of time. That's just not what this shows here. Even up here. So dominance would have to get, below 60 probably and stay there. This still looks like an upward channel to me. It doesn't look like it did back here. It doesn't look like it did in 2017. So I don't really see anything that's screaming. We'll just go to this real quick too. I don't see anything that's screaming dominance has to roll over. It's all party time. I don't see that just yet. Total 2 over BTC has had a huge bounce thanks to ETH bouncing quite a bit. Trend wise, still not a bull trend. Just isn't. We're sort of past where you'd expect us to bounce, at least based on last time. That was post-COVID, obviously. So a lot of this is sort of wishy-washy analysis. But last time we were down here, it took a while to consolidate before we actually had alt season. I don't know if we're going to need a year and a half. I don't know if we're going to need COVID plus stimmies. I don't know what it is that we're going to need. Maybe it's just rates coming down and QE restarting. Maybe that's enough. But like the dominance chart, it's going to be obvious when this flips bullish because it's been bearish for years. So there's really nothing else to say. It's bearish until it's not, and it's still bearish. Really nothing to say there. Total 2, of course, has flipped bullish, and most of the trades at this point, I think, are behind us. The easy edge-to-edge trades are behind us, and this is a great example of the 2 types of trades you can get in a recovery period, either a vanilla trend breakout or a strong bullish reversal off of deep, deep drawdown, which is what the edge-to-edge represents. We have not seen an uptick here in stablecoin prints, which is something I mentioned last time that I'd like to see. We didn't need it to complete these trades. We might need it for continuation from here. So most charts look like this that have already broken out. They're sort of at the cloud or just above the cloud. I talked about edge-to-edge trades yesterday a little bit. For me, the trader, I take the edge-to-edge and I say, thank you very much, Mr. Market. I appreciate it. Thanks for the easy layup. Anything after that is bonus until the cloud flips bullish. My expectation for most of these charts that looks like this is just chop down, chop solidation, a little mean reversion to the downside. Nothing major, nothing crazy. For some people, they're going to want to jump out. If they're 50x levered on a meme coin and they're up 10,000%, and yeah, it's probably a good idea to take some off the table, right? You shouldn't need me to tell you that. Maybe instead of the leverage, you just move to spot. If you like whatever it is so much and you're up 1,000%, maybe you want to protect some of those gains because it has been quite a run. Just because my expectation isn't that we keep going doesn't mean we can't, but that's not my expectation here. Again, we got these trades, great. The next setup is going to be the cloud rolling positive, and that's going to take some time. One trade that was a laggard was coin. Now, did I know that coin was going to get in the S&P? No, I did not. But what I did say last week was it was a laggard that had a cloud entry setup that had a pattern. So coin is the same. Again, the asset, the stock, the metal, the Forex pair, none of that matters. It's all about the technicals. So yes, you may think, again, Coinbase, it's in the S&P, it's going to go to 300. Fine. We are clearly above the cloud here. We are in the wheelhouse of expectations on the measured move of the pattern. My expectation is not anything more than we've already seen until we get a little bit of consolidation here. The one chart that has loosely followed both Total 2 and Coin has been WGMI, which is a mining ETF, Bitcoin miners. It's not perfect. It's kind of messy, but you can see WGMI in Total 2 and in Coin. To me, that makes sense because historically there hasn't been that many ways to actually get crypto exposure. So it's clearly lagging here. It's hard to see, but it's behind everything. Not quite in the cloud yet, I don't think. So if I'm looking for laggards, this is an example of one thing you can do. Now, something I'm seeing a lot of people do with alts is they're going way down the market cap list. They're saying, oh, this one looks like something that's already moved, so this is a good setup. While that may be true, the setup might look great. Reality is those trades may have trouble moving, or those trades may not move ahead of a BTC pullback, for example. So I would be very careful if you've already had, I don't know, 10 to 15 to 20 positive trades. Maybe you don't take another 20 trades. Maybe you just wait. Just one suggestion. That isn't to say, again, they can't work out or they won't. It's just at some point, those setups will fail a little bit. That's why I tend to stick to like the top 100 coins. So when you see something in legacy land that is a crypto analog that is lagging like Coin was, that's a great setup. And of course, it had fundamental news. This is the WGMI cloud. I would love to see this pull back with BTC and get a better entry. I don't know if we're going to see that. In a vacuum, this is enough to take a trade. It is certainly enough to take a trade, at least nibble. You don't have a bullish TK cross. You don't really have a pattern that's complete, but it's just straight up. So I would love to see this come back to sub 16. And then if you get something from 16 to 22 in June, let's say, I think that's a great setup. Why would this outperform? Why BTC is moving down? I don't think it would. So if you are a little bearish on BTC, then maybe you don't take the WGMI trade just yet. This is, of course, Kraken Pro, your premier trading experience and platform. They've had 4-hour candles since inception. I don't know what other exchanges are doing, but Kraken has had 4-hour candles for quite some time. So if we're looking at BTC, the issue here is BTC has outperformed everything by a lot relative to where alts are now, right? Just on the cloud. So the risk here for me is downside. I don't think we go to 90, but there's clearly a large gap here, a TKC clamp starting to form. You don't have a bear div yet, so you don't have a huge warning sign. But let's say we get a third high here. Let's say we get a third high. Maybe we make a rising wedge. I don't know. Maybe people get all bulled up at all-time highs when we break, and then we go back down. That would be one way that alts would just get absolutely demolished. So you certainly have to be careful of that. Not really an expectation, but it's a possibility. And the daily averages are, they're way down there. The 4-hour, which again, we can see on Kraken Pro and have for quite some time. Nothing too concerning, just sort of flatlining here on momentum. Really nothing to do in my mind. But where people tend to get into trouble is they are late on trades and they overdo it in times like this, in my opinion, because they just assume the laggards are going to catch up. And a lot of the times they don't, because the main squeeze, the market moving benchmark, pulls back. So that's what you got to be careful of here. I'm not really worried. There's nothing super bearish. It's just we're starting to get a little dead on momentum after going straight up. And that's to the cloud concerning. And you tend to get this mean reversion activity. Now, I do expect the Kijun to move up. I expect the Tenkin to move up a little bit and then go flat. So this is probably going to take maybe 1 or 2 more weeks to actually give a full-blown warning sign, but the early signs for this are there. And as far as alts, part of me is like, what more do you want in the moment? A lot of these have completed the expected moves. And in my mind, just like Total 2, there's some quality stuff that you like. Maybe you like majors. Maybe you don't want to hold on to memes, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you love memes and you hate majors, whatever. But expectations for me here are not just blind continuation. I think it's going to take some time, maybe up to 2 months of consolidation here. I don't know. I don't have a great read here because all of the trades that we were watching over the past several months, for the most part, have played out. So there's really not much for me to do or think about here at this point. It's just a waiting game beyond this. For ETH, you don't have a bullish cloud yet on the daily. If we go to the 12-hour, a little overbought on the price relative to the Kijun here. It's certainly bullish. There's no doubt about it. But fresh position here, not for me. This looks like a sell. All of this stuff looks like a sell to me, aside from BTC, which I could care less. So I would just be very cautious with this at this time as an analyst. The analyst in me needs to say that. Ripple just holding the range. Really nothing to say or do here. It is above the cloud. It does have kind of Adam and Eve vibes. For me, if a chart looks like this, I need the cloud to get fully bullish. It's not really enough that it's just above the cloud. I need everything to turn bullish, and ADA is in that same vein. It's basically the same chart. You got an Adam and Eve here. Me personally, want to wait for a full bullish complement here on the cloud. For Sol still has a little bit left in the tank. It just barely grazed the expected move, the 1618. I think this still could go a little higher. I wouldn't open a fresh position, not financial advice, obviously, but if your expected move is 200 and you're at 177, I just think it's a bit late, right? This does have a little bit of a bear div here on the daily, and it's trying to fight that off now. Nothing too concerning. It's just, what is the move here expected versus what it was at a couple days ago? It's not the same. Doge probably consolidates and attempts to go higher, and that's kind of where a lot of stuff is. If it hasn't reached the end of the cloud, it is sort of in the middle, just trying to make a decision. SWI also has a bear div here, higher high in price, lower high in RSI, and that's okay. This needs to consolidate anyway before the cloud flips bullish. That's going to take probably a day or two, and this probably chops around a little bit. I wouldn't even be against some of this stuff. You can sort of see in various time frames, like we could get a head and shoulders out of this. I don't know. That's possible. It's certainly in the cards as something to pay attention to. It's just way too early to call that. 4-hour SWI just hanging in there, maybe a multi-headed head and shoulders, but is anything screaming one way or the other? I don't think so. I just think everything needs some time to relax. Fartcoin just looks like a continuous rising wedge, doesn't it? Tell me in the chat. Tell me in the comment section what you think this looks like. Daily looks like a rising wedge with a continuous bear div here. I would be very careful on stuff like this, especially. Yes, it's outperformed. Yes, it's done well, but I'd be careful personally. This looks like more of a sell than a buy here to me. Now, before someone tells me that rising wedges are bullish, I'm not in agreement with that consensus, apparently. ETH BTC, yes, it's in the cloud. The BTC pairs generally take more time. So this could go all over the place, right? Now, it's certainly more bullish than it was and has been for months. But until this is fully bullish, I could care less. Sorry. It's been down chop since mid-2024. Daily was incorrect here on the move down. So I would bump that to the 3-day. And we're back to the Bitcoin dominance conversation, right? So what is there to do here? I got nothing. I have no idea. Still looks bearish to me. Pepe, this is one of my test accounts. So that's why you're seeing some of these dots on here. But I did finally sell the remaining Pepe I forgot about on my secondary Kraken account here. And this is this is it. This is what it's all about. This is why we do what we do on the cloud. Edge to edge. You find something you believe in. You take the trade. You hold it. And here we are. It took, 3 weeks. For some people, that's a long time. For me, that is probably average what you'd expect. This was like, $1,000 trade or something stupid. But from here, would I expect continuation? No. I would expect consolidation. That's what I would expect. Pengu, I have no idea why it was randomly up 20% today. This, much like Fartcoin, I'd be careful. Rising wedge, bear div. Not something I would long up here. With daily through the cloud, right? What's your expected move here? I don't know. I just think it needs... I don't want to make people angry and say, I want to wait for Q4, but it could take that long. If you made it this far in the video, the super secret alpha. Like this could be the move for Q2. Q3 is just nothing. And then Q4 is insanity. Like that's part of where my head's at. I don't think we're bearish here. Again, there's nothing to worry about. It's just what is your expected move? Just needs time. We're back to the needs time stage. We had the consolidation. We had the breakout. Now we need some time. Stellar, kind of an inverted head and shoulders there. Super laggard relative to the rest of the market. Trump on the daily. It's in the cloud. You could argue inverted head and shoulders, cup and handle. This is not something I would trade for any reason ever. I like it in a vacuum. This chart I like better at highs than at 13. So at 15 plus, it's for me. If I was trading this, not here. Ondo had some news with JPM. Someone in the comments is inevitably going to let me know. You couldn't tell that on the chart. Same thing with Link. Let's go to Link. Could you tell that on the chart? No. Most of this fundamental air quotes news, unfortunately, does not matter. Link has a little bit left in the tank, but not much. LTC probably needs consolidation. Really nothing to say here. And that's kind of where we're at. We go through these periods of question and answer. The question leading into April was, were we going to see mean reversion? And the answer was, yeah, we did. Everywhere, right? So now what? Now we need a new question. Are we going to consolidate at the cloud and see bullish continuation or not? I think it's too early to start to answer that. Popcat just looks like it needs a month to just go sideways. It's a great move. Needs a month. Monero, something's going on here with somebody cashing in or out. Something. I got nothing to say on this other than it's at highs, right? I mean, what else are you going to say? It will underperform everything, guaranteed, but it does tend to be decoupled with the rest of the market most of the time. AVAX just chilling down there on the cloud. Again, nothing to say. Give it 2-3 weeks. Curve has the opposite problem. It has already completed its move. I'm fully out of my curve position at this point. I think this needs 2 to 4 weeks before I would consider a trade again. Just needs time to consolidate and let the cloud catch up. Tau looks good here. It's just, again, in the context of the entirety of the market, do I expect random bullish continuation? I don't, but somebody might. I personally don't. I just think everything needs a cooling off period here. Peanut down 11 on the day. Move looks done to me. I don't know. Well, who am I to say when Peanut is done or not done? But that one looks fully done to me. Sol BTC is some of the best risk reward left in the market in my mind. I think at some point Sol's going to outperform BTC. That would probably be after the next pullback on BTC if we see it. But the level's right there on the cloud. 0020. Cast is another one similar to Tau that has broken out. Like it looks okay. I think nibbling is probably fine. It's not for me personally, but if you're just trading on the cloud in the vacuum, yeah. I like to see the cloud fully bullish first on this stuff before I take a trade there. ENA is another one that I think has the best risk reward left in the market. It's high enough on the market cap table. There's clearly people looking at it and trading it. It's new enough that people remember what this thing is. I think if and when funding on ETH flips positive in a big way, ENA will start to do better. It's possible this thing could go nowhere to Q4, right? So when I bet the farm on ENA moving a 2x, no, but at some point, in this year, I would expect a decent move out of ENA. Absolutely. Just wouldn't expect that tomorrow. Aave's kind of hit its move, needs some time. So for most of this stuff, just looking at the cloud, like look at this cloud out till June. It's possible, again, Q3, like we could just chop around the rest of Q2, consolidate for Q3, and then October is like get ready season. It just looks like that's where the market's at to me. And Legacy looks the same. I think Legacy needs some time to cool off. I don't doubt that it has some bullish continuation, but it does need some time by the looks of it. Jump is another one that clearly has pattern plus edge to edge. At this point, you're getting pretty far down the market cap list, so I'd be careful with sizing. But yeah, it's there. You got to let it play out. Look at the Pepe chart, right? That is like the gold standard. I'm going to put this on the fridge so Ma can see it. This took, let's just count the days that this took. It took 21 days. So I would give anything here that you're entering another 20 days. And if you don't think you have that much time to take the trade, size it down or don't take the trade. But I think that's where we're at. SHIB, risk reward just isn't there for me. FET, I think these AI tokens, okay, this one hasn't quite gotten out of the cloud. Render, Algo, a little bit left in the tank. That one looks okay. Render hasn't quite gotten there yet. So across the board, there's a few things to do. Now, clearly against BTC, a lot of these charts are going to look like they're setting up still. So we could see some BTC underperformance relative to alts on select coins coming up here over the next couple months. That's what the chart looks like. And really, that's only because alts are down 60 to 80% since December, whereas BTC is basically back to all-time highs already. So across the board, in my mind, we're back to not much to do season. That's why you got to stock this stuff and be ready to go and fire away. You're not going to get setups every day. You're not going to get 50% moves every day. That's just not going to happen. So let me know if I'm missing anything in the comments. That's all I got for this one. Give me a like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.